Good evening and a warm welcome. You're watching Viewpoint with me, Grihatul Siddiqui. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the United States of America on a state visit, and his first meeting with the Bidens at the White House has set the stage for the formal bilateral talks between the two sides today. In fact, the sit-down private engagement between the Prime Minister and the President is aimed at informal warming up to each other and fixing the nuts and bolts ahead of the official delegation-level talks. After the talks, the two sides are expected to announce a defence industrial cooperation roadmap, a deal on co-producing jet engines for fighter aircraft, and also initiatives on critical and emerging technologies, which will include a roadmap on semiconductors, artificial intelligence, quantum computing and space. In fact, Prime Minister Modi's first public engagement at National Science Foundation alongside the First Lady Jill Biden had him emphasize on enhancing US-India partnership in research sector to ensure continuous momentum in growth. He also stated pointers to further the goal of tech decade. In the meeting with CEOs of Micron Technology, Applied Materials and General Electric, Modi also encouraged them to invest in India to boost semiconductor. Now remember, Modi and Biden's formal talks, which are first done in a restricted format and usually involves interpreters and note-takers, will be followed by full delegation-level talks. The two leaders will also make joint press statements after the talks. And not to mention the highlight of the day, Prime Minister Modi's address to the joint session of the Congress, a very first for an Indian and a rare honor for world leaders. In another rarity, though, it is being learned that the Prime Minister might just be taking a couple of questions in a press conference.
Had an excellent meeting with Prime Minister Modi. Very impressed with the vision that he has for India and the advances that India is making. We look forward to greater opportunities in India.
Very much looking forward to working together with the Prime Minister and everyone in India to achieve tremendous success together.
उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए आवश्यक है एजुकेशन, स्किल, इनोवेशन और भारत में हमने इस दिशा में कई प्रयास किए। हमने नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में शिक्षा और स्किलिंग को इंटीग्रेट किया।
You work to ensure that all Indians, especially girls, which I love, have the opportunity to pursue an education and gain the skills they need for our modern workforce. And it's so important. If we want our economies to be strong, we need to invest in young people who are our future.
Now, ahead of the huge Modi-Biden bilateral, let's find out what exactly is on the agenda. So let's begin with focus number one, which is the primary focus in this bilateral meeting, which is on the defense sector. This is about the GE F414 engine deal and MQ-9 drone deal. Now, why is it important? Remember, the attempt is to co-produce F414 engines in India. These are the engines which we are using in the LCA Tejas. This is a technology transfer deal between America's General Electric that's been signed in the form of an MOU with the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And this is further going to reinforce that Atmanirbharta push. Now remember, this co-production is very, very important to India because otherwise India will have to go ahead and buy these engines, which is not beneficial for the country. And about the drone deal, Joe Biden and Narendra Modi will be announcing a mega deal on the purchase of General Atomics MQ-9 Reaper armed drones by India. Remember, these have been approved by the Defense Council, and they're the most advanced drones that are America's drones. America has been using them in international anti-terror ops. And if India has it too, it would bolster India's national security and surveillance capabilities, both in the Indian Ocean and also at the frontier with China. India will then have an edge against China. Let's look at the other aspects when it comes to this defense deal. Upgrade of M77, Striker and howitzers. This is another important defense deal that will be in focus. If we go further, talk about focus number 2. It is in the space sector. ISRO, NASA join hands for 2024 mission. This becomes very important. It is going to be a huge boost in India's space explorations. If we go further, this is also expected that India is going to be joining the Artemis Accords for the space exploration. What does that mean? India has in fact decided to join the Artemis Accords, which in fact brings like-minded countries together on the civil space exploration, and NASA and ISRO have agreed to join mission to the international space, and this is going to of course happen in 2024. If you talk about the third focus, it is on mineral security. This is to share extraction technology on crucial mineral mining. If we go further and talk about the focus number 4, it is on telecom cooperation. It is for the open radio access networks, which is going to further boost India's position. The last and the final one, focus number 5, is in fact visas. This is about the entire visas process that is of course going to bolster India's push further. Let me actually bring in my colleague and managing editor Zaka Jacob on the broadcast first and get a sense of what exactly is expected ahead of the big bilaterals. Zaka, you know, we see a lot of people around you, behind you. We will talk about the mood, but the all-important bilateral is the most important thing about today in Washington, D.C. What are you learning vis-a-vis that?
Okay, I'll just get to that in 1 second, but this is the south lawns of the US White House, and we have a crowd of people here who are all chanting just one name, and it's obvious it's that of Prime Minister Modi. Where are you guys from? Hyderabad. You've come from Hyderabad for what? To see Modi. What do you want to tell him? Okay. As you can see, it's almost like an election rally, a political spectacle, if you will. There are thousands of people who've come from different parts of not just the United States, they've come from different parts of India as well. And it is a spectacle. You can see the military band playing, there's music in the background. There is, of course, the ramparts of the White House that is on our north side. But this is the south lawns of the White House. And you can see camera person Ravinder is showing how this has been set up. So there are people all across in front of the lawns, right where the ceremonial guard of honor will take place. And of course, there is the crowd that you just saw a moment ago on the deep end of the south lawn. So this is where the ceremonial stuff will get underway in, I believe, about an hour and a half from now. Prime Minister Modi will be welcomed by US President Joe Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden. There will be the military band that will welcome him. The national songs of both the countries will be played. After which, of course, there will be the ceremonial guard of honor. A gun salute will be given to the Prime Minister. The state visit is the highest form of diplomatic privilege that's been extended by the US White House by any US administration. And Prime Minister Modi is attending his first state visit here in the United States. So let's try and see if we can speak to some more people here, because I think this mahal is really what it is about. Before, of course, the ceremony begins in about an hour and a half or so. Where are you from? Where have you come from? Houston. You've come from Houston. Why have you come here? Why have you come here? You want to meet Modi? You'll get a chance to meet him today? What will you tell him? आप क्या कहेंगे उनको? What will you tell him?
You're doing well and continue doing it.
Okay. You guys were chanting something? What were you saying? So you can see there are chants of Modi, Modi, Ghar Ghar Modi, and so on. So obviously this is, it's like I said, it's a bit of a spectacle that's happening here on the south lawns of the White House. It's quite incredible. I don't think we've seen these kind of scenes. Yes, Dr. Manmohan Singh had also come here on a state visit, but these kind of scenes, it's almost like I said, it's a political rally of some sort, where supporters of the Prime Minister have come not just from different parts of the US, you heard a gentleman there from Houston, but also from different parts of India. Some of them, of course, have invites for the state dinner that will happen later this evening. But for now, the focus is squarely on all the pomp, the ceremony, just soaking in where you are and the atmosphere of where you are. I mean, like I tweeted this out some time back as well. I guess it's one of the perks of the job, one of the privileges of the job, that you get to report from the White House. You've seen this photograph on, your school textbooks growing up. And here you are, standing on the South Lawns, reporting this historic visit, this first ever state visit of Prime Minister Modi.